Hey guys, what's going on? Andrew coming at you. And I gotta talk about the number one thing that makes no sense to me about the United States after living in Sweden. I've probably done 10 videos on this, but I swear there's a positive message in this video. You see, the last time I was home visiting the United States, I'm walking around, I'm going to a gas station, I'm at a restaurant. There were just times I was having a really good time. And I realized that I had a heightened state of awareness that at any given moment, someone could come in with a thing that goes boom and cause chaos. I kept thinking, man, I really hope a crazy deranged person doesn't come in with a thing that goes boom or an assault thing that goes boom and start messing everything up. And then I realized that every American has to have this thought somewhere in the back of their mind. Every kid that goes to school has to have this thought in the back of their mind. And when I was in America, it was just my baseline anxiety. It was just a part of it. And I realized that living in Sweden, I didn't have this fear. Yes, okay, we have a problem with gun violence in Sweden right now, and it's getting worse, and we need to address it, and we need to stop it. But we do not have a bunch of mass things to go boom incidents happening in Sweden. We don't have it happening in our schools. We don't have it happening in our gyms. We don't have it happening in our grocery stores. We don't have it happening in our banks like yesterday, depending on when you see this video. But each and every time, I've always felt hopeless that there would be no change except for today. Because I don't know how many of you know, and that's why I want to draw light on this story, but a few days after a crazy person went into a Christian elementary school in Tennessee with a thing that went boom, and people got hurt and people got unalived, we saw 10,000 students and their parents go to the Tennessee House of Government and protest.
10:13 a.m. today, 10:13 a.m. exactly, kids in Nashville, Tennessee all walked out of their classes. Look at that. 10:13 a.m. is when the first Help Me 911 calls started coming into the police department in Nashville 1 week ago today. Monday last week, when that horrific school shooting started unfolding at the Covenant School, an elementary school in that city. Police today said that in the roughly 14 minutes that it took for that school shooting to elapse, the shooter fired 126 rifle rounds and 26 rounds from a handgun, 152 rounds altogether in 14 minutes.
And we saw 3 politicians that were Democrats that also were a part of the protests, used megaphones and demanded that the government, the Republican GOP, act and do something to protect children. Now, I believe this is the largest student protest since the 1960s, but yet no news organization, not CNN, not nobody, talked about this. Students had to share stuff on TikTok in order to communicate what was happening. It wasn't until just a couple days ago that this finally made national news. I'm not even sure if this made news in Sweden. But the kicker was this. The GOP, rather than, the first time young people got interested in politics, they got involved, they demanded action, they saw their representatives fight for them. The GOP's response was, let's expel the 3 members of Congress. They ended up expelling 2 of the only young black members of the local government, and they kept the white lady, showing basically racism on display for everybody. And I cannot tell you the level of rage that I felt. I called one of my family members. I was so upset he had to calm me down because as a millennial, I was so upset to see this on display, this gross abuse of power and this assault on our democracy. Rather than putting a ban on assault things to go boom, they're putting an assault on democracy, which is something that Justin Jones said, one of the representatives who they just made pretty much a national hero. Now he's going to be well respected amongst many young voters, and I think he has a big future. But when they did this, it basically backfired on them because I can tell you as a millennial, I will never vote GOP, but I can tell you that many Gen Zs aren't gonna vote GOP at all. And they just crushed any chance of them having success. They see that their power is dwindling. They're doing everything they can. Mark my words, they're going to do whatever they can to try to stop young people from voting. But this movement started, and I realized for the first time that GOP has lost, that there are going to be changes with things that are assault weapons that go boom. And if enough young people get together and say, you know what, we're going to run for political office, we're not going to take any money from any corporations, and we are going to call out every representative that is taking blood money from the NRA, that is taking money from the pharmaceutical industry and looking the other way as people are dying so that they can fund their campaigns. See, a lot of these politicians, in my opinion, need to take this money so they can just make themselves relevant enough on Facebook ads and other places so people just know who they are so they can get elected. But what they don't understand is the power of enough young people getting together and changing that and using the power of social media to their advantage to get their message out. And what ended up happening, which is just so cool, is that the two members that have been expelled, by the time you watch this video, there's probably a good chance both have been reinstated as the temporary representatives, but Justin Jones was temporarily reinstated because they have to have an interim representative. Unanimously, everybody voted for him, 36-0. Not one person. That's a strong message to send back to the Tennessee GOP. And so he went back just a couple days later and gave a speech, and it is just priceless to see the Speaker of the House, who wanted him gone's reaction to his speech and the level of anger that he feels.
Jones. Thank you. Mr. Speaker, I want to welcome the people back to the people's house. I want to welcome democracy back to the people's house. That on last Thursday, members of this body tried to crucify democracy, but today we stand as a witness of a resurrection of a movement of a multiracial democracy, that no unjust decision will stand. And that this represents the point that there comes a time where time itself is ready for a change, and that time has come back here in Nashville, Tennessee. That truth crushed to the ground will rise again, that what you intend for evil can be used for good, to restore the heart of democracy in our state. And so I come here to stand with my constituents, with the people of Tennessee, to say that no unjust attack on democracy will happen unchallenged. That the abuse of this body will not happen in the comfort of silence. And so I come here, most importantly, though, not as an individual, but I come here to say that the people of District 52, 78,000 people, have a voice in this chamber once again. I'm hopeful for the days ahead for Tennessee, not because of the actions of this body, but because of the actions of the people out there and the thousands gathered outside this chamber right now, who are calling for something better, who responded to your attacks on democracy with an attack of a mass movement for social justice and racial justice and economic justice to restore the heart of our state. And so I want to thank you all, not for what you did, but for awakening the people of this state, particularly the young people. Thank you for reminding us that the struggle for justice is fought and won in every generation. And so the people of Tennessee, I stand with you. We will continue to be your voice here, and no expulsion, no attempt to silence us will stop us, but it will only galvanize and strengthen our movement. And we continue to show up in the people's house. Power to the people.
And so I realized something the other day, and this is why I feel so much joy, is for the first time ever, millennials and young people have realized, holy crap, we've been doing this game all wrong. See, we're so focused on the presidential elections, Congress, House representatives, senators, elections, that we forgot how important local politics is. That's really where it starts. That's really where the power is. And so we are going to start running. We are going to start pushing, and we're going to start coming for your local school boards, and we're going to start coming for your local government. And this easy life that you had of you were corrupt and you took the blood money from the NRA and no young people cared. They were too busy about their video games. Well, because you're doing nothing about things that go boom, but you care about if they're LGBTQ, you care about what books they read. We can see through the hypocrisy. We can see through the bullcrap. We can see that you don't care about us. You don't care about any of us. But we're coming for your seats. And there is going to be a change. And it's the first time in my life that I really feel hope. And I don't think this momentum is going to stop. America is going to change, whether you like it or not. And if you don't want to be on the right side of history, then your kids and your grandkids and your great-grandkids will have to live in shame that you did nothing while people continuously got killed with things that go boom, that you were a coward, that you took money over protecting the people. We will never forget this. Change is coming. That's all I got. Haters.